Oh, howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing? Oh, look, I actually just got a notification of myself being live. It's a thing. Apparently your YouTube can notify you of things. It's funny because I have my notes around. Well, I've just been journaling a little bit more than usual with the energies being quite honed. I'm wanting to be clear as crystal when it comes to the manifestations that I'm calling in for this next phase. So I'm restoring a lot, resting a lot, listening a lot, and not taking no shit from nobody. A lot of like awarenesses have come through. Hey everybody, how's all the regs? It's so nice to see you here. Chance, I've been meaning to message you back. I really appreciated that video, by the way. It's cool. It's all cool. Cutter, am I cut? Okay, so our collective intuition report. Thanks. Thank you. In fairness, that's a point of attraction. I do consciously create. Like, I'm more and more radiant, more and more beautiful as each day passes. My beingness is a divine form of radiant beauty. Age is nothing. Age is just, well, I just don't buy into that. So it's like, anywho, there, it's like, thanks. That's a reflection of my own intent. um, See, this is partly why Charlie's Angels thinks, and I saw that comment. I appreciate that, by the way, as well, Divines. I do like that look, the kind of like 70s. Anywho, see, this is partly why I don't go live as much, but I miss it. I do miss it, and I I don't care. Like I like being here with you guys and having chat sessions. I think it's enjoyable. It's fun for me. um, and that's all that matters. um, okay, so the the collective intuition, what comes through is like this ever increasing sort of snowball effect of the increased awareness in the totality, right? Age younger, yeah, 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 yeah. We can do. I mean, there's still um co-creative aspects to all of that. Obviously, as one mind and one being, we're moving in that direction. And yet there's still aspects of our projected environment which can affect us in such a way. So we're working on it. We're working on it with many other pioneers of the new, um the regenesis, the zero point, the, the divine, the Christ within, the unified field. And then that's part of like the piece, the side insert of what came through was in the totality, recognizing that our alignment is the service, like our joy and alignment to source and in divinity is our service. And that's the biofeedback I can receive from any encounter that I have at this point, is that we are still outworking the distortions via fear and a lot of the programming of lack, and that we can see it reflected back to us, um, in, yeah, blame and attack in different quote unquote relationships or encounters where something's sort of unclear, and there again is us working out different veils of karma, and at the same time, for a lot of us, our ability to see the collective patterning and imprinting. So my awareness is part like twofold. Female liberation is on the rise because of the divine feminine being more honored in pockets of the world, And then at the same time, a sort of e- the masculine ego, so in men and women, being triggered on another layer and level around our control, our domination, our false sense of freedom, which is to do actually with more like pleasure seeking, quick fix success, like a false sense of success, and then chasing that versus chasing the authenticity and the integrity of truth, which is our truest form of liberation and freedom. And ultimately, in my opinion, certainly success. The highest level of success is an embodied being, because nothing is, there is nothing bound to that in essence, right? Yeah, weird. Unified being. Right. And well, that's just beautiful, isn't it? As far as like the unification goes. One of my biggest. Oh, great. Brilliant. Yeah, it was enjoyable. It's nice. And more of you are. I tune into roots, I am connected with Divine Sight on Insta. And so in fairness, like you guys and John, obviously we're connected here and on Insta, but like this kind of collective, I'm is pretty intimate, you could say. Like I don't, other than, the people that are coming along and finding the intuitive tarot readings, and fortunately it's now kind of permeating where some of the people who are grooving on the readings are buying the book, and just ultimately like discovering um, the brand, the Ultra Love Mish. Um, and this is relevant to this share because it's this work, this inner work, this awareness that a lot of us, apparently on the fringes of our mainstream culture and indoctrination in society, um, we've been sort of silently and or invisibly, or even in a more radical sense, been persecuted and gossiped and demonized by our community, and then like pushed aside. um, and yet all the while there's this increased awareness in the collective. So hey Chris, how are you? So more and more humans are now able to be open to have these kinds of conversations, even like the so-called systematized, so teachers and politicians and journalists and people that maybe 5, 10 years ago it would have just been complete blinders. Now we're able to start having these conversations, which is the reflection that some of us need to then up level again. It's like someone mentioned the smoking yogis, right? Like being our authentic truth then helps to actually shine in and call in a greater resonance in a tribal connectivity, in a sense of community where we don't have to like hide, because it's not shameful. I'm more in integrating that as the truth. There isn't bad or good or right or wrong when it comes to our. So increasingly, I'm aware that there is polarity. There's polarity in all of our function and all of our interaction. However, we typically, as a society, we like hone in on these things like sugar is the bad thing, meat and dairy is the bad thing, and then that, what does that do but divide and conquer? It divides up the mind, the oneness of mind, the oneness of Christ, the unity function of this whole movement, right? So that's why I'm aware, for a lot of us we have these soulful compulsions, is because that's part of our function. It can help us with non-judgment, it can help us with grounding, it can help us with attuning to the plant medicine, because we live on a planet which grows these plants, and for as ages, since, I'm pretty sure since the beginning of our human existence here, in our purity form, we've ingested the plants as wisdom. And the more of us that have been doing all the meditation and the yoga and the energy work, we can now, in presence, hold space for the wisdom that comes through plant medicine without fear. Because again, the world has programmed a veil of fear over things like the psychedelics and the tobacco and the marijuana and all this stuff, which then again is like, that's why it's all sort of convoluted in the delayering. And increasingly, I'm offering in this collective intuition, certainly like withdrawal more, disengage. And I'm so happy you guys are here, obviously, but like engage less with externals. Like even tuned in and I haven't tuned in to Aluna Ash, and I have a resonance with Aluna because she shared some of my videos, which is pretty much why a lot of you guys are even here, is that you found my video via her channel. And then that helped me attract online work and kind of make a bit of a leap on that level. So I definitely have a resonance, but even Aluna in the last sort of 4 to 6 months, I've not been engaging in anything, maybe a little bit of astro insight with Adrian Elise, which you guys know I share. And I watched that Rasa Leela healing guy. I hadn't tuned in him for ages. Um, just because I haven't wanted to. And it's kind of radical when you're just like, I just want to listen to my heart and soul. I just want to listen to what's going on inside me to get crystal clear with the projection, with especially with the mounting kind of apparent chaos in the external collective projection of reality. You know, the political regimes are becoming more twisted and convoluted, and people's awakenings are certainly affecting the um, the power structure, the power hold. It's all, and like a lot. There's increased in the collective anxiety and confusion, and then at the same time, this is increasing the awareness of the next phase of human evolution, which is more compassionate leadership, which is more fair politic and economic and social um, exchanges, because we have a greater awareness as one as the whole. And that's making me think of, and that's why we know there's distortion in our environment when somebody, you know, treats us a certain way or does something and it doesn't feel nice. We can be certain that that's a false projection, that they're projecting part of their unconscious onto us. You know, for someone like me and a lot of you guys, this the clarity within. So at this point, like, it's this amazing ability to, one, be very triggerless, and then two, when there's something put upon, you're like, whoa, okay, take a step back and discern what that is. And for a lot of us, there might be certain weights and attachments that we've been kind of dragging along with us unconsciously. And then if it pulls you from your happy place, precisely. And there again, our happy place is very unique, very, yeah, very unique. And I've witnessed just in the last week a kind of like polarity of, yeah, discernment of like energies that want to take me back into this messy or disempowered, and yet I can see it with compassion. That's also the beauty of, like, there's no harm in compassion and true love. We don't harm one another from this place. We hold space for people to feel what they feel, and in some situations we might be called to reflect back, that's not mine, you know, or we have to pull away from situations and say, you've got to now take ownership and move forward in your own right, because we can see the level of service and the level of divinity that we've been pioneering that's taken this long to accumulate the sense of self-worth. Marianne Williamson being in politics in America, and my connection is saying it's unstable, so I apologize, you guys. Hi, John. And um basically just greater awareness in yoga and meditation, and because of increasing chaos, more people being triggered to their awakenings and wondering what the F is actually happening, what's going on. And we start we start questioning things, and then we navigate the self-help and the healing and the professional development. I mean, in my awareness, it's all angles of the same thing. People often, they've, for whatever reason, they say I'm spiritual. Like they'll say, "Oh, you're so spiritual," or "You're so whatevs," and I don't know. I don't define or label it like that. I'm just having a human experience. Um, you know. Oh, wicked. Maybe she will. Maybe she should do a little sesh, right? John, I would say that's just an increasing continuation. I would agree with that. Does anyone else feel the collective consciousness and emotions more recently? Yeah. So since this big Amazon, when it started to hit the mass media, there was a kind of upgrade in the sensitivity of mass awakening. So those of us in these sort of, chats are on the fringe, on the forefront of this quantum leap and this paradigm shift, because we've already gone through it. So it's our beingness that's essentially holding space for more to awaken. Because whenever there's a trigger point for the collective, it is a biofeedback loop for more and more people, and again, within our spiritual conscious communities, it's really easy to hop on any of these propagated fear programs and start, who's right, who's wrong, who's got the answer, this, you shouldn't do this, you should be doing that. We start pointing fingers rather than honoring what it triggers from within the self. I mean, I'm certain I had my own very unique experience around a shift that I'm continuing to have and share fairly open with you guys around the way that I smoke cannabis and tobacco. And that was part of my reflection of the burning forests of the world, is that it's highlighting to me to make sure that I'm endeavoring whenever, that it's from a place of consciousness and a place of awareness and groundedness, that I'm not just in a rage or in a kind of reactivity loop, taking something to escape from what I'm feeling versus using it as a tool of self-awareness, but not, certainly not buying into that, like, "Oh, it's bad for you." Yeah, everything is fucking bad for us at this point. And that's part of what if someone's open-minded enough, can reflect back, drinking alcohol is bad for us. Apparently eating meat and dairy. Apparently dairy is the biggest carcinogen for us. So, the news and our continuing evolution is just that. And this is just someone who's not been engaged in an agenda, in an external, mainstream, propagated agenda, which ultimately, well, 100% is used to control people's minds. So that a very select few beings who like worked it out, they can remain in control and dominate, divide and conquer, keep people split. So they're always blaming and attacking rather than integrating into the wholeness of being, which is why we share here, because my unique path, certainly since the awakenings, it's like I haven't been able to stray too far away from the heart, because I felt like I was dying, like I could feel the fractalization of self and the denial of spirit, which hurt my being and made me act out in ways which was further away from the truth of me, with promiscuity, with alcohol and drugs to the point of blackout and ending up in really shitty, scary situations, which in my heart field, I wouldn't wish upon anyone, nor would I wish much of the suffering that I've seen propagated to me: death and war and poverty and hunger, and these things that in my resonance field were so and triggered such profound suffering that made it my life's mission to just figure out, how do we figure this out? And apparently it's a very personal thing. So that takes me to the second part of this like share, which is, so with the increased awareness and more people having veils lifted via the biofeedback of Earth's transition and awakening and transforming, so we start to rise into a greater sense of responsibility for the whole, which is where people like us and how we share can have a lot to offer people, in the way that we deduce, in the way that we've been able to integrate, in the way that we can translate. um, bad for you, very good. Very, very good it is. I love you guys so much. Margaritas and tobacco with a group of yogis having burgers, some meat, some non meat, non judgment. Isn't that the freedom piece? And so that divine sight is like a total reflection, and just this conversation with you guys. Oh, hi, Lorna as well. And John, obviously. So it's like, that is like the divine reflection of like this topic share, this increased awareness and responsibility for all. So we're now up leveling to the point that many more of us are realizing, like, it's the unity and authenticity. That's the clincher. Like what the expression Sasha used was like, standing in the flame of truth, the holy grail, right? The Christed consciousness is the holy grail. It's the truth. It's the flame of truth from within the one self, and that's the reflection back. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's unity, that's alignment, that's serendipity, as far as our co-creative awareness that we're all leveling up, and it's happening, whether people are aware of it or not. It's happening whether unity consciousness, yeah, it's a divine plan. It's beyond us. That's, again, for a lot of us here, that's part of our function, is that we managed to live this weird life that has been quite intense, emotional, painful, lonely, comparatively speaking, to people systematized and following the program. And yet the great, I suppose, benevolence or the grace of a path as such is that there's increasing reward. Oh, there's a mouse coming up. Um, you know, living in service to the whole eventually brings about a reward that is sort of beyond anything the human mind could conceive of, which is where, like, the Yogi Bhajan vibrates the cosmos and the cosmos clears the path. The paradigm shift is far beyond any one individual or any mind. And I see that often in our chase for success and our chase for achievement. Ultimately, at some point, from the heart space's point of view, it's a futile endeavor because we're already there. What are we trying to get? If we're chasing everything, we're not in the heart of truth. We're not vibrating, the light, the Christ. We're vibrating the void and emptiness because we think we have to try to get it rather than be it. That's part of the discernment that I was working out with a recent encounter. Somebody quite distracted and chasing the dream, chasing the epic life, like running, 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 really busy and lots of different things. And then I'm like, and that's the difference, is that you can't get it from there. Otherwise, you're just on that loop of chasing, 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 busy, busy, busy. It's the inner work that you are that. You are that success. You are that moneyed, authentic human. You are already that being that you're endeavoring, that you're chasing outside of self via the things you need to do or the people you need to fuck or the people, like whatever it is. It's that our own, oh God, it's so paradoxical. Exactly. Right. Right. Vibrate the cosmos. Don't like get distracted by look, the hand of God. Should we focus on the hand of like should we focus on where the finger is pointing us, or should we embody the direction that it's asking of us to be? It's true with the neutrality piece. I came across something recently which reminded me of that as well. Not to deny, there's so these are the subtleties of outworking when we're working with energy and the biofeedback of our own point of attraction and our own karma. And then why I've written in the Fearless Life Guide, it's not about denying the emotional field, but for a lot of us, there is what I would call that backlog of energy of that the cells, the energies that we've stored up over ages and or have been denied. And this stuff that we talk about and I share with a lot of you maybe is completely unique to an empathic community. The sensitives, the intuitives, the witches, the warlocks, the wizards, the magicians, those that in the dark ages were persecuted over and over again for the light that they bring. So in this shifting lifetime, in this awakening phase of humanity, we're doing divine service. It's just for the most part weird and or invisible or completely misunderstood by a lot of the earthlings, by a lot of the ones still in the dark, or the ones still blinded by the veil of control and domination via their own soul's choosing, right? So it's like now as we continue to uncover the light from within, I totally feel that like a greater sense of just neutrality, but also within the neutrality is this increased awareness, this increased like, whew, it's like a sense of like, exactly what's going on an energetic level. And also there's and that was a big piece of the responsibility for all in this recent shift for me, was like this outworking of weird competition, comparison, jealousy, resentment. And that was also from within me. I can own that stuff coming up within me, but then also the biofeedback of deeper shit being held and harbored within a broader collective. So uh, so yes, I can own authentically what's mine, but at the same time, I'm not going to take on other people's projections and pretend like I don't know what that is, or pretend I don't know why people unfollow, or pretend I know people don't step back. Like there's shit in our collective, between men and women, between success and a lack of, and looks and this and that and the other. And so it's really neutral. It's nice. It's really nice to be able to come to that neutral space and be there and essentially live there, in truth, and then discern the other as and when it rises or as and when it comes up, because I'm aware of it. And I think it got triggered because Aluna in the recent video, which I only watched a third of it, but that was mentioned about, the cliques and that's something I'm not here to endeavor, which is part of the learning. Yeah. Right, exactly. And we talk about that. I don't think I use the word pendulum, but the polarized, right? I use that word more, polarization. We swing back and forth and then we remain back in our neutral stance. And that again, the see, to me, authenticity is neutrality as well. Because I'm just focused on the self, shining out that self as the beingness, knowing that all is the mirrored, reflection of that beingness. And so I can remain centered and pick and choose how we direct consciousness, right? Hence, increasing awareness, and the responsibility for all is to not get pulled and swayed and triggered by all the different news feeds, by all the different information out there. Just stay focused, especially the paradigm shift community in this of shifting has just been like another wormhole, like just like being pushed through and squeezed through. So hence the culmination of the end and the wrapping up of a long line of karmic cycles, because the karmic cycles have been born of many timelines and many ages. And we talk about moving into Christ consciousness is moving into unity. It's moving into a birthing of a cycle of a of another great age where there is greater harmony and compassion and love and benevolence, but at the same time, radical excitement and creativity beyond what we ever imagined. But we must remember that we have our unique function. Weirdly, a lot of that stuff doesn't excite me. My personal function as a modern mystic, or again, I wouldn't even know what to call self other than the self, but like for me, it has a lot more to do with just having like the land and being able to walk around barefoot and like grow vegetables and like tend to the garden. It's not like I'm excited about like the rallies or the revolution or like, any greatness as far as what we were programmed to think we wanted out of life. For me, it has a lot more. The poignant makes me cry. It makes me feel that. Um, yeah, it's just like the simplicity and the beauty. And of course, like any of us, my desired co creation is that we can travel and we can share and we can have open hearted discussions about living the truth of our knowing, living the truth of our beingness, which is, yeah, so far beyond any like mental construct that any one being is trying to lay down as their egoic desire is to like have answers around this stuff. And that's part of the grappling that I feel in the collective, which is why more people are starting to be like, wait a minute, self responsibility is a big piece here. Because after a while, you meditate for a few months or a few years, you start doing yoga. After a while, all of the talking about who's right and who's wrong and who's got the answers and that just it becomes quite tiresome, because it's not in the words. The gardening animals and sustainability for sure. Like, and just being able to make vegan hash brownies and share them with the fellow pixies who just want to like hop along, dance around the fire. And then we have that co-creative supportive space where other people as they awaken and start being like "What?" and like they need to break free, they can come, they'll find us just like people find the channel and people find the places that we all end up finding on our journey, you know so yeah. Well, woodland, and one thing I'm aware of, and it's in my manifestation book, but like water as well. Like I need either the sea needs to be not far away or bodies of water, river, a little stream, a lake, somewhere where I can hear and see water moving. So the woodland, pardon me, you guys, would also have to have some. Oh, I just looked up at 3311. I'm just reading up at John's comment as well. Even the darkest place on earth, there's light. Yeah, and meeting a lot of different light workers, and this is part, I would say, increased awareness, sense of self responsibility. It's like I still have the third party biofeedback of people reminding me like where where the dominant freaking, or where the dominant collective is still sitting, with regards to this and how out there or weird we are having these discussions. And yet, for more and more of us, and this has been my reality now for years, like at least, like 4 years, 5 years, if not more, since A-Fest, even. It's like I jumped ship. I jumped ship then. I was only really having these kinds of conversations. And then it was like publishing the book and putting myself out there more meant that I would be attracting the greater polarity, but it's still been on this level. And that the recent jump ship has been me realizing like, whoa, I'm now at a completely different place than I was 7 years ago. And the efficacy of the coaching is really becoming apparent to me. And so it's discerning where my time is being placed and discerning this stuff that I'm sharing with you guys about talking about, what I'm manifesting ultimately and getting real. The vibrashe. Yes, water is required. Snake white. Hey E, how are you, my friend? And like also the cabin, there's like slickerish. So the cabins on our in our new paradigm land hold is like um the cabins are like all sustainable but like slick. That's my propensity anyway. Having met Sasha, and I'm my Venus is in second house and Venus in Aquarius, so my natural propensity is like loveliness. Having lovely things in my like environment. So I'm somebody who can make things look really pretty and designer vibration, I guess. I'm coming more into that. Organized and make it clean and so yeah. And I worked at a place called Yo Town, which is just super magazine worthy gorgeousness. And I think about like, yeah, just as a collaborative tribe, as a collective, being able to make these environments like super beautiful. And because that's something as well where I find in our system how we ghetto size immigrants or we ghetto size poor people and criminals, but then they're not given the proper access to like education around how to create space, color and plants. And there's certain things that help raise the vibration, and so often I'd meet people or work with people and they'd have no plants, no color, no art in their house, and I'd feel the emptiness of it and just think, well, this is part of why you can't lift yourself up, you know? Hi, sweet Cece. How are you? I think that's my cue to go, you guys. It's funny, like as soon as I just feel a bit of an edge around a comment or something, it just makes me be like, okay, that's all I have to give at this point. So it's nice to be here, you guys. Yeah, lots of noodle sessions for sure. I'm really happy to be back. I'm reinstating on some of the videos, I'm reinstating the comments because I miss you guys. And I recognize that it's important for me to be consistent and I'm happy to it's not like I'm ashamed or anything. I needed to do what I did and I'll continue to operate from that place of truth within myself. Um but I miss you and I'm aware that I can continue to work with the polarity of getting the hatred and negative comments and stuff like that and allow that to be there in neutrality ultimately. And like similarly, it's not like a hardcore trigger. It just um in my field sometimes certain comments like provide an edge as it were and like I'm it's disrupted the flow from a certain for whatever reason, which I guess is just because it's time to go more than anything else. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Thanks, Lorna. See, and I really love that there's this sort of really tight group of you uh who have shown up this morning just to reflect back again the desire to meet here and have chats and discuss like what the fuck is happening. Um and like just share where we are, So have a great day, you guys, and a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you. Book stuff. Don't forget to buy my book and um share, just share the vids and whatnot. I really appreciate the help ultimately at this point, you guys. It means the world to me. Have a beautiful day. I love you loads. And I've got my cards out. Look, this is the one card for this chat, the creator. Let's not forget that we are the creator. We just are. You create it all. I love you guys so much. Have a beauty nighttime, sleep time, dream time, wherever you go on your travels. Until next time, my beautiful friends, I love you. Have a lovely, lovely time. Oh, yeah, for virtual hugs. It's been so long. Virtual hugs. Virtual hugs. Have a great day, you guys. I'll speak to you soon. Peace out.